Well, thanks. I'm not Nav, by the way. I'm Dale Ginn. I'm the Vice President of Exploration. And so you'll get a little more of a geo-focused talk here. So basically, Bonterra has morphed from a pure exploration company to, a discovery of the Gladiator deposit. And we've now drilled that out quite extensively. And then most recently, we've completed a takeover of Metanor Resources. And what that's given us is two more gold deposits, being Barry and Moroi, and a mill, a fully functioning, decently operating mill. So that mill is central to about 15 different gold deposits. It's the only mill within a 110-kilometer radius of all these deposits. And all this is accessed by basically paved roads. Some of the outer reaches are, forestry type roads, but basically our plan now is to have 3 gold deposits feed this mill. We're going to expand the mill to 2,400 tons a day from 1,200 tons a day. And I'll get into the timeline on that in the presentation. Picture of each project. So Gladiator is a new discovery. It's been drilled on since about 2016 and ready for its first resource calculation coming out in December this year. Then next to that is Moroi. So that was an existing mine called the Bachelor Mine. We've now since shut that down, and we're concentrating on expanding the mill and expanding the Moroi deposit that's next to it. And then Barry deposit is very similar to Gladiator deposit. It's 8 kilometers away from it, and it will be developed as an underground vein-style deposit. So zooming in on the Gladiator and Barry area, basically the yellow is 100% controlled now by Bonterra, and the hatched area is a joint venture now with Osisko Mining. So we have 70% of that, and Osisko has 30%. If you zoom in on the Gladiator deposit, what you can see is in the clear part is our 100% owned land. We've been drilling on this deposit, as I said, for 2 years. So it's about a kilometer and a half strike currently. And you can see that the, if you go any further than that on each direction, you end up into the shaded ground, which is now our 70-30 joint venture. Just today we released basically that we've extended the strike length of the deposit by about 2.5 kilometers now. So we've got a deposit that's a good 4.5 kilometers long with drill holes on each end, and so now we've got to come back and kind of fill that in. As you could see, we were bumping up against boundaries, just in the clear area when that was, when we didn't have that joint venture land. So in a longitudinal section looking north, you've got your Gladiator deposit central, and the bulk of the new resource that's coming out will be, the central part of that above 500 meters in depth. You can see that we're starting to encounter new mineralization on each sort of end or extent, and we've got to come back and kind of fill in those gaps now with our exploration program. This is just a slide showing 4 of the individual veins in a longitudinal sense. This is grams times meters. So red is over 30 and yellow is over 10. So basically you've got, easterly plunging veins that, have higher grade chutes within, and, are a pretty consistent nature in terms of their dips and their plunges overall. This would be a cross section through that series of parallel veins, dipping 80 degrees, and they're far enough apart that we should be able to mine these separately. It's excellent ground conditions. When you put the mag are the magnetics underneath. You can kind of see the mag highs are the mafic units, and the gray is the faults, and you get these Rydell vein systems setting up kind of between the faults. And so, you know, in that top left portion, you can see a whole new vein system starting to set up. And then, of course, you go along strike in each direction, and we're starting to hit with our drilling. So it's as I said, it's an interesting setup that used to be bounded by claim boundaries, and now it's wide open for us. So we've extended strike length potentially to about 4.5 kilometers. We did some metallurgy this year on the Gladiator deposit, and basically we're getting up to 76% in gravity, and we're getting high 97% type recoveries in a standard gravity flotation leach scenario. No arsenic or any bad stuff in it. Moving on now to Barrie. So that's about 10 kilometers to the west. In a longitudinal section, you can see it's got similar features in terms of its easterly plunge, a little bit less drilling overall, in terms of density, and a lot of potential in a lot of areas. And so that'll be one of our focuses, is to expand on the exploration of the Barrie deposit. The decline that's currently ongoing is going to cross the majority of the veins at about the 100-meter level. And that'll be the start of a bulk sample. Here's a plan view of the decline, and you can see the blue veins are steeply dipping veins, just as in Gladiator, same thing. And the reds are shallower veins, extensional veins that are kind of caught between the shear veins. So this bulk sample decline will help us determine the features of the extensional veins as well. The land package basically now is a lot more concise and a lot larger. We basically tripled the size of our land package with this deal, so 35,000 hectares now, and multiple showings and multiple advanced deposits in this package. Moving up to Moroy, this is the actual location of the mill. Basically, in a sectional view, you've got the old Bachelor mine that we shut down on purchasing Metanor, and moving our focus to the right, which is to the Moroy deposit. So it's been drilled from surface. It's got an amount of development in at the 1,100-foot level, and drilled below and above it there. So basically, we have a new deposit that's drilled from surface all the way down to 2,000 feet, no resource on it, and that'll be added to our inventory basically in the spring of next year. The idea here is to develop it on multiple levels eventually and have it contribute to our production scenario. In a plan view, it's basically you've got the Moroy on the edges of a syenite plug, and no exploration within the syenite at all. So we're going to look at that as a potential in terms of a mineralized model. And then to the left, to the west, you've got more of a mafic intrusive complex with an old zinc mine on the side of it. So we're going to explore that as well. Just a bit of a bigger picture of the northern lands. Timeline, basically, we're already in the permitting stage, almost completed for the expansion of the mill. So that's going from 1,200 tons a day to 24. You've got the timelines from Moroy, Barrie, and Gladiator. Gladiator the last in terms of production because it's the newest deposit. Basically, you're looking at the three of them combined to be a 200,000 ounce a year high-grade producer within 2 years. The mill upgrade summary and the flow sheet of what it is now and what it'll look like later. A bit of a peer group comparison, officers and directors, but basically we are morphing from exploration company to a producer, so there'll be some introductions of some experienced producers in terms of mine builders and whatnot will come into the picture as well. And share capital, we just raised about $22 million. We're trading at about $150 million market cap. And that's it. Thank you very much.